Hello and welcome. So, today we are going to discuss what is psychology. So, psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior. Psychology is a multifaceted discipline and includes many subfields of study. Such areas as human development, sports, health, clinical, social behavior, and cognitive processes. Psychology is really a very new science, with most advances happening over the past 150 years or so. However, its origins can be traced back to ancient Greece, 400 to 500 years BC. So, what are the major philosophical issues in psychology? So, psychology began in the late 1800s as an attempt to apply scientific methods to the questions of philosophy of mind. Three of the most profound philosophical questions related to psychology are free will versus determinism, the mind brain problem, and the nature versus nurture issue. So, the next question we are going to answer is, what do psychologists do? So, most psychologists deal with smaller, more manageable questions. They work in many occupational settings. The most common settings are colleges and universities, private practices, hospitals, and mental health clinics and government agencies. There are also many types of mental health professionals. Some of these are clinical psychologists, psychiatrists, social workers, and counseling psychologists. So, in clinical psychologists have an advanced degree in psychology, master's degree, PhD, or PsyD, with a specialty in understanding and helping people with psychological problems. Those problems can range from depression, anxiety, and substance abuse to marriage conflicts, difficulties making decisions, or even the feeling that I should be getting more out of life. Clinical psychologists try, in one way or another, to understand why a person is having problems and then help that person overcome the difficulties. The next is psychiatry. So, psychiatry is a branch of medicine that deals with emotional disturbances. To become a psychiatrist, someone must first earn an MD degree and then take an additional 4 years of residency training in psychiatry. Because psychiatrists are medical doctors, they can prescribe drugs such as tranquilizers and antidepressants, whereas most psychologists cannot. Another one is a psychoanalyst. Psychoanalysts provide therapy and rely heavily on the theories and methods pioneered by the early 20th century Viennese physician Sigmund Freud, and later modified by others. Another service provider or mental health professional is a clinical social worker. Similar to a clinical psychologist, but with different training. In most cases, a clinical social worker has a master's degree in social work with a specialization in psychological problems. Another one is the psychiatric nurse, which you need a 2-year degree to master's degree plus supervised experience. And we also have the counseling psychologist, in which you need a PhD or a PsyD or an EDD plus supervised experience in counseling. The job of a counseling psychologist is to deal mainly with anxiety, depression, and other emotional distress. A counseling psychologist deals mostly with life decisions and family or career readjustments. Counseling psychologists work in educational institutions, mental health centers, rehabilitation agencies, businesses, and private practice. So those are some of the mental health practitioners. So now we are going to discuss some of the major specializations in psychology. The first specialization is biopsychologist. So its general interest is mainly on the relationship between brain and behavior. Second specialization is clinical psychology, and its general interest is emotional difficulties. The third specialization is cognitive psychology, and its general interest is on memory and thinking. The fourth specialization is community psychology, in which its general interest is mainly on organizations and social structures. Fourth specialization is counseling psychology. Its general interest is on helping people make important decisions. Fifth specialization is developmental psychology. Its general interest is mainly in the changes in behavior over age. The seventh specialization is educational psychology, in which its general interest is mainly on the improvement of learning in school. The eighth specialization is environmental psychology, in which its general interest is how factors such as noise, heat, and crowding affect behavior. Ninth specialization is evolutionary psychology, and its general interest is evolutionary history of behavior. 10th specialization is human factors specialist, and its general interest is mostly on communication between person and machine. 11th specialization is industrial organizational psychology, and its general interest is people at work. 12th specialization is learning and motivation specialist, and its general interest is learning in humans and other species. The next specialization is personality psychology, and its general interest is personality differences. Then the next specialization is a psychometrician, and it deals with measuring intelligence, personality, and interest. The next specialization is school psychology, and its general interest is mainly on the problems that affect school children. And another specialization is social psychology, in which it is mostly interested in group behavior and social influences. So that is just a brief introduction in psychology. Thank you.